I never thought my life would unravel in the fluorescent hell of a midtown Manhattan office bathroom. But there I was, staring at my reflection, hollow-eyed. I ask you. The weight of 1,000 unspoken lies pressing down like the humid summer air outside. My hands gripped the sink's edge, knuckles white, as tears blurred the man I'd become. Adam Hayes, 32, rising star in corporate finance, secretly drowning in a love I couldn't claim. That's when the door creaked open behind me, heavy footsteps echoing off the tiles, and a voice like gravel wrapped in concern cut through the silence. "Hey, man, you okay in here?" I froze, heart slamming against my ribs, because it wasn't just any voice. It was Nathaniel's, the night shift security guard who'd haunted my dreams for months, the one man who saw through my polished facade like it was cheap glass. And in that split second, as our eyes met in the mirror, I realized he wasn't there by chance. He was there to save me from the razor I'd been too cowardly to touch. It started 6 months earlier, in the sterile glow of Hayes and Associates' trading floor, where ambition was currency and vulnerability a fireable offense. New York chewed you up and spat you out if you showed weakness, and I'd mastered the art of the poker face. Crisp Oxford shirts, calculated smiles, weekend brunches with clients where I'd laugh off their homophobic jabs like they were inside jokes. My boss, Harlan, was the king of that world, silver-haired, Ivy League polish, the kind of guy who quoted Ayn Rand at happy hours and eyed me like I was his golden retriever. "Adam, you're my protege," he'd say, clapping my shoulder a beat too long, his breath sour with scotch. I nodded, swallowed the bile, because climbing that ladder meant burying who I really was deeper than the subway rats. Nathaniel Reed entered my orbit on a rainy Tuesday in April, the kind of downpour that turned the city into a watercolor smear. I was pulling an all-nighter, caffeine jangling through profit projections, when the fire alarm shrieked. False one, some idiot's microwave mishap in accounting. Everyone bolted for the stairs, a herd of suits and heels, but I lingered, wiping sweat from my brow, the fluorescent buzz drilling into my skull. That's when he appeared, broad-shouldered, uniform hugging his frame like it was tailored, badge glinting under the emergency lights. "Sir, you need to evacuate," he said, voice steady but eyes, God, those hazel eyes, locking onto mine with an intensity that made my stomach flip. He was maybe 28, with a fade haircut, a faint scar tracing his jawline like a secret, and a southern drawl softened by years in the north, the kind that whispered of Carolina pines before Brooklyn stoops. I mumbled something about deadlines, but he didn't budge, just extended a hand, calloused, real, guiding me toward the exit. In the chaos of the stairwell, our arms brushed, and electricity shot through me, raw and unbidden. I hadn't felt that spark since college, back when I'd stolen kisses in frat house shadows, only to wake up to prayers and promises to fix myself. By the time we hit the lobby, rain lashing the glass doors, the building was emptying out, but Nathaniel stayed close, like he sensed the storm inside me raging louder than the one outside. "Name's Nate," he said, offering a crooked smile that crinkled the corners of his eyes. "You look like you could use a coffee after this circus." It was casual, coworker chit-chat, but in that moment, with thunder rumbling like Judgment Day, I wanted to spill everything. The late-night Google searches for gay support groups NYC, the family back in Ohio who'd disown me if they knew, the Harlan who'd promoted me but cornered me in the supply closet last month, his hand on my thigh, murmuring about team building. Instead, I played it cool. "Adam. And yeah, coffee sounds lethal right now." We ended up at the all-night diner across the street, formica counters sticky with syrup ghosts, the air thick with grease and regret. He talked easy, grew up in Charleston, joined the army at 18 to escape a drunk dad, got out after 2 tours in Afghanistan with a purple heart and a head full of ghosts. Security gig paid the bills while he studied criminal justice online, dreaming of detective work, something where I can actually help folks instead of just watching him break. I nodded, mesmerized by the way his fingers drummed the mug, the faint tremor that betrayed the calm. My turn. Safe lies about loving the grind, weekend hikes in the Palisades, no mention of the Grindr app, one deleted every Sunday night. By dawn, the rain had eased to a drizzle, and we walked back to the office in companionable silence, shoulders bumping occasionally, each touch a question I was too scared to answer. "See you around, Adam," he said at the revolving doors, his gaze lingering just long enough to make my pulse stutter. I watched him go, badge swaying against his back, wondering if New York had finally thrown me a lifeline or just another illusion. The weeks blurred into a rhythm of stolen glances and hallway hellos. I'd catch him on rounds, patrolling the empty floors after hours, his flashlight beams slicing the dark like a promise. One night, buried in spreadsheets till midnight, I heard footsteps and looked up to find him in the doorway, thermos in hand. "Black, 2 sugars, figured you'd need it." How he knew, I'll never guess, but it hit me like grace. Someone seeing me, really seeing. We talked for hours that night, perched on the edge of my desk, legs dangling like kids on a dock. He confessed the scar was from a roadside bomb, shrapnel that took more than skin, his voice cracking on nights when the flashbacks clawed him awake. I shared fragments. Mom's Bible study guilt trips, Dad's factory whistle signaling, "Man up," the first boy I'd loved who ghosted me after graduation, leaving a crater where trust used to be. It was dangerous territory, this pull between us, electric as a live wire in a puddle. By May, our coffee runs turned to lunches in Bryant Park, dodging tourists and hot dog vendors, his knee brushing mine under the table, accidental at first, then not. "You ever feel like you're living someone else's life?" he asked one afternoon, sun dappling his face through the sycamores, pigeons cooing like conspirators. I wanted to scream yes, to grab his hand and run to some alternate Manhattan where labels didn't burn. Instead, I shrugged, every damn day, and watched his eyes soften, like he understood the weight without needing the words. But shadows loomed. Harlan noticed my distractions, his mentoring sessions growing bolder, lingering handshakes, invitations to his Hamptons share that I dodged with excuses about family obligations. Nathaniel saw the strain, too, cornering me one evening in the break room. "That guy's got you twisted up, Adam. You don't owe him your soul." His protectiveness stirred something fierce in me, a longing to lean in, to taste the coffee on his breath. We almost did. That night, elevator stalled between floors, the air thick with unspoken hunger, his hand on my arm steadying us both. But the ding came too soon, doors parting like a cold shower, and we stepped out laughing it off, the almost kiss hanging between us like smoke. Summer heat baked the city into submission, and with it came the cracks. A client dinner at Harlan's club, mahogany walls, cigar haze, the kind of place where deals were sealed with backroom winks. Harlan got handsy after the third martini, cornering me by the restroom, breath hot against my ear. "Come on, Adam, let's celebrate your promotion properly." I shoved him off, heart pounding, fleeing into the night. Hail Mary text to Nathaniel lighting up my phone. "Need to talk. Now." He met me at our diner, face etched with worry, listening as I spilled the ugliness, tears mixing with the pie crust crumbs. "You're better than that poison," he said, his hand covering mine across the table. First real touch, warm and anchoring. In that booth, with neon buzzing, eat. Overhead, I confessed, "Nate, I'm gay, and I think I'm falling for you." The words hung, terrifying, but his squeeze back was answer enough. "About damn time you said it. I've been waiting." What followed was a whirlwind of hidden bliss, stolen weekends in his cramped Brooklyn walk-up, cooking gumbo from his grandma's recipe, bodies curling together on a thrift store couch, kisses that tasted like homecoming. We'd walk the promenade at dusk, skyline glittering like forgiveness, his arm around my waist when no one watched, whispering futures. Joint apartment in the village, his badge traded for a shield, my corner office for something honest. "We're building this, Adam," he'd murmur into my hair, brick by scared-ass brick. It felt possible, in those moments, love as rebellion against the city's grind, against the Harlans of the world. But secrets fester like untreated wounds. Mine was the promotion Harlan dangled like bait. VP slot, 6 figures, the American dream wrapped in his strings. To get it, I'd have to play his game. Late nights, networking. His implications clear as the lipstick stains on his collar from mistresses who weren't me. Nathaniel sensed the shift, our dates thinning as I chased the brass ring. "Don't let him buy you," he'd warn, voice laced with hurt I pretended not to hear. Guilt gnawed me, but ambition whispered louder. Security, stability, a shield against the world's knives. The breaking point came in July, heat wave turning the office into a pressure cooker. Harlan called me in after hours, door locked, bourbon poured. Sign this NDA, Adam. Keeps things discreet. It was more than papers, a photo on his desk, me and Nate blurry in the park, time-stamped from a security cam. Fraternizing with staff? Could ruin us both. Blackmail, plain as the sweat on my brow. I signed, numb, the ink drying like a noose. That night, I ghosted Nathaniel, canceled plans, vague texts, the coward's playbook. He showed up at my door 2 days later, rain-soaked, eyes red-rimmed. What the hell, Adam? Did I imagine us? I lied through tears. It's work. It's nothing. He left with a shattered look that haunts me still, the door click echoing like finality. August dragged, a funeral march of what-ifs. The promotion landed, champagne toasts masking the rot. Harlan's favors escalated. Brunches where his foot nudged mine under the table, emails with winking emojis. I complied in fragments, hating the mirror each morning, the man staring back a stranger. Nathaniel avoided me, patrols skipping my floor, but I'd catch glimpses, him laughing with the janitor, the light gone from his eyes. My texts went unread, voicemails deleted, the silence a blade twisting slow. By September, the dam cracked. A board meeting gone south, Harlan's temper flaring, blame landing on me for a bad trade. You're slipping, Hayes. Too distracted by distractions. The room tittered, implications clear, and something in me snapped. I stormed out, straight to the bathroom, the one place mirrors lied least. That's where it ended, or began again. The razor from my DOP kit glinting under the lights, wrist exposed, the ultimate fuck you to the cage I'd built. And that's when Nathaniel burst in, not as guard but as ghost, having tailed me from the lobby, intuition sharper than any blade. Adam, no, Jesus, stop. He wrestled the razor away, gentle but firm, pulling me into his chest as sobs racked me. The truth poured out in gasps. The NDA, Harlan's threats, the promotion bought with my dignity. He held me through it, rocking like a lifeline in a squall, his shirt damp with my unraveling. You think I'd let you go down alone? I knew something was eating you. I waited, hoping you'd fight. In that stall, knees to chest on cold tile, we rebuilt from ruins. Promises whispered fierce. Quit the job, expose Harlan, start clean. But twists weighed in the wings. Harlan's reach was longer than I knew. By October, whispers of audits, my accounts flagged for irregularities. Paranoia set in, shadows in alleys, anonymous calls breathing static threats. Nathaniel pushed for cops, but fear glued my tongue. Ruin my name. Drag him down too? We argued, nights fracturing into silences, his frustration boiling over one Brooklyn Eve. You're choosing ghosts over us, Adam. Again, he stormed out, leaving me with the echo of slammed doors, the bed cold as accusation. November brought the storm. A leaked email chain. Harlan's, courtesy of a whistleblower intern, hit the trades. Harassment, coercion, my name redacted but the scent unmistakable. The office erupted, feds circling like vultures. Harlan called, voice oily. We go down together, kid. Your little security fling? Front page fodder. Panic clawed me. I confessed everything to Nathaniel over burner phones, his voice steady. I've got your back. Always. But doubt festered. What if he bailed, tired of my messes? The climax hit on a crisp Thanksgiving week, leaves carpeting the park like confetti from a broken parade. I met Harlan in the shadows of his club, recorder hidden, baiting the trap. Call it off, or it all spills. He laughed, venomous, shoving me against the wall, hands on my throat, the old playbook. You think you're clean? I own you. Flash, Nathaniel materialized, cuffs out, backup sirens wailing. Turns out, he'd tailed me, looped an IA, the works. Harlan went down snarling, dragged to black and whites, his empire crumbling in real time. In the aftermath, handcuffs clicking like punctuation, Nathaniel pulled me aside, rain starting to spit. I followed you tonight because I couldn't lose you. Not to him, not to yourself. The shock hit then, not the arrest, but the depth of his faith, the love that endured my betrayals. We stood there, soaked and spent, his forehead to mine, the city pulsing indifferent around us. Winter thawed into fragile spring, the fallout a slow mend. Charges stuck. Harlan's plea deal spared me testimony, but scars lingered. Therapy sessions in Chelsea, job hunts in fintech startups that promised ethics clauses. Nathaniel aced his exams, badge upgraded to shield, patrolling precincts instead of cubicles. We moved slow. Therapy dates, park walks where hands intertwined openly. His gumbo now our ritual, laughter edging out ghosts. One evening in May, a year to the day of that fire alarm, we climbed to the High Line, rails humming with rush hour ghosts below. The sun dipped, painting the Hudson gold, and he dropped to one knee. Not ring, but a key. To a village brownstone, our fresh start. No more hiding, Adam. Marry this mess with me. Tears blurred the skyline, but my yes was thunder, raw, redemptive. Looking back, that bathroom mirror wasn't the end. It was the fracture letting light in. Love, the brutal kind, demands you shatter first. Nathaniel taught me that. His scars mirroring mine, our wounds weaving something unbreakable. In America's relentless churn, we carved our corner. Two men, unapologetic, hands clasped against the wind. The key turned in the lock like a vow kept, the brownstone's door swinging open to creaks and dust motes dancing in slanted light. It smelled of fresh paint and possibility, a far cry from my old Midtown shoebox with its roach symphonies in view of a brick wall. Nathaniel hauled the last box inside, labeled kitchen odds and ends, in his blocky scrawl, dropping it with a thud that echoed our exhaustion. Home sweet home. He grinned, wiping sweat from his brow, the summer humidity already turning his tea to a second skin. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed to hide the tremor in my hands, watching him move with that easy grace, the man who'd pulled me from the brink now anchoring this new chapter. We'd closed on the place a week after his proposal, pooling savings in a haze of notary stamps and lender small talk. First-time buyers, the agent had cooed, all teeth and commission breath. Nathaniel squeezed my knee under the table, his touch a secret Morse code. We're real. No rings yet. Too soon. Too loaded. But the key felt heavier than gold. A tangible fuck you to the years I'd spent invisible. That night, we christened the space with takeout Thai from the corner spot, sprawled on drop cloths amid unpacked chaos, toasting with Singa bottles to no more NDAs, ever. But peace is a jealous lover, elusive in the city's grind. My new gig at a boutique firm in Flatiron started Monday. Ethical trading, they promised, with diversity trainings that actually meant something. No Harlans here, just sharp women in power suits and guys who high-fived over oat milk lattes. Still, imposter syndrome whispered, "You'll fuck this up too." Nathaniel, now a rookie detective in the 19th precinct, dove in headfirst, endless shifts chasing leads on domestic calls, coming home with bruises hidden under collars and stories he softened for my sake. Just another day in the circus, he'd say, but I'd catch him staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., ghosts from sand-swept roads replaying in the dark. Our first fight erupted over breakfast 2 weeks in, sunlight slanting through lace curtains we'd salvaged from a stoop sale. I'd burned the toast again, and he joked, "Babe, if you keep this up, I'll have to arrest you for culinary assault." I snapped back, sharper than intended. "Maybe if you were home more than twice a week, you'd know I suck at it on purpose." The words landed like slaps, his fork pausing midair, hurt flickering before the walls went up. "I'm busting my ass for us, Adam." "What? You want me playing house while you crunch numbers?" It escalated, me accusing him of choosing the badge over us, him firing back that I still flinched at public affection, like Central Park PDAs were a bridge too far. Doors slammed. I stormed to the bedroom, curling under quilts that smelled of his cologne, regrets sour as the uneaten eggs. He found me there an hour later, sitting on the fire escape with a cigarette I bummed from the neighbor, bad habit resurrected from stress. "Truce," he murmured, sliding the window up, joining me in the iron cage overlooking the alley ballet of cats and fire escapes. I nodded, passing the smoke, our fingers brushing in the exchange. "I'm scared, Nate. Of losing this. Of us crumbling like every gay cliché." He pulled me close, chin on my shoulder, the city hum a lullaby below. "Clichés are for straights who think love's a fairy tale. Ours is a goddamn epic, fights and all. We made up slow, kisses tentative then fierce, bodies mapping forgiveness in the dusk. Fall crept in with amber leaves and harvest markets, our routine solidifying like mortar. Weekends became sacred. Farmers' markets in Union Square, haggling over heirloom tomatoes, his arm slung casual around my waist as we navigated the crowds. Friends trickled in, his precinct buddies, rowdy with beer pong and bear hugs, my old college crew, the ones who'd stuck after I came out piecemeal, toasting our domestic bliss with ironic air quotes. One night, over rooftop barbecue, his partner, Ruiz, a burly Latino with a laugh like thunder, pulled me aside. "Nate's different with you, Hayes. Lighter. Don't let the job steal that." Her words stuck, a reminder that his world was barbed wire, every shift a gamble with fate. The first real test came in October, when the Harlan trial hit the news cycle like a nor'easter. I'd testified in the preliminary hearing, voice steady under fluorescence, recounting the coercion, the photos, the bathroom abyss. Nathaniel sat in the gallery, uniform starched, his presence a shield against the defense attorney's sneers. "Mr. Hayes, isn't it true you welcomed the attention for career advancement?" The jury saw through it, but the headlines didn't. Wall Street whiz or willing participant. Trolls flooded my feeds, slurs I'd thought consigned to Ohio backroads now viral venom. Work calls dried up, colleagues whispered in break rooms, their sympathy laced with side-eye. Nathaniel shielded me fierce, screening calls, walking me home through throngs of gawkers, his hand firm in mine like a statement. But cracks showed. He'd snap at reporters staking our stoop, come home wired from protective mode. One evening, after a particularly vicious op-ed dubbed me the original sin of finance bros, he found me numb on the couch, bottle of bourbon half gone. Harlan's brand, irony's cruel joke. "Talk to me, Adam," he pleaded, kneeling, thumbs brushing my cheeks. I broke then, ugly crying about the shame, the fear that I'd tainted us, that his career would suffer by association. "You're not poison," he growled, fierce as a lion. "Harlan is, and we're the antidote." He dragged me to bed, holding me through the shakes, his heartbeat a metronome to my chaos. November brought Thanksgiving, our first as us. No family invites, just chosen kin around a turkey I'd actually brined. Ruiz brought empanadas. My buddy Theo, a drag queen from the Stonewall circuit, glitter-bombed the entryway. Laughter flowed like gravy, stories swapping like currency. Nate's army pranks, my disastrous prom date with a cheerleader to prove a point. As pie steamed on the sill, Nathaniel clinked his glass. "To family, the ones we fight for." Eyes met across the table, his locking on mine, and in that warmth, I glimpsed forever. But December loomed with winter's bite, and so did the shadows. An anonymous tip to Nate's precinct, my name tied to a side hustle Harlan had buried, falsified trades I'd signed off on in desperation. IA called him in, grilling like it was Guantanamo. "Your boyfriend's dirty, Reed?" Compromised. He stonewalled, loyal to the bone, but suspicion poisoned the air. I pushed for confession, full transparency. "Turn me in if you have to. I won't drag you under." His refusal was volcanic. "We're in this trench together, Adam. No one's leaving." The holidays blurred, string lights on brownstones mocking our fray, eggnog spiked with doubt. New Year's Eve found us at a queer bar in Hell's Kitchen, bass thumping like resolve, bodies pressed in the throng. Midnight struck, confetti raining, and he kissed me deep, uncaring of the crowd, claiming, conquering fear. "This year, we win," he whispered against my lips. I believed him, drunk on champagne in him. Spring 2026 bloomed tentative, the trial wrapping with Harlan's conviction. 10 years, a slap, but justice's echo. My name cleared in the appeals, but scars itched, trust fractured, ambition neutered. I pivoted to consulting, remote gigs from our kitchen table, freedom tasting like second chances. Nathaniel made detective sergeant, his commendation pinned proud above the mantel. We talked rings, simple bands, engraved with brick by brick, and weddings, small affair in the park, vows under the sycamores. One June dawn, waking to his snores, coffee brewing auto, I realized, shock wasn't the bathroom intrusion, but the revelation that followed. He hadn't saved me that night. We'd saved each other, two broken boys forging whole from the wreckage. In the rear view of our brownstone life, I see it clear. The guard who followed wasn't intruder, but harbinger of a love fierce enough to shock the soul awake. Summer 2026 hit like a freight train, humidity wrapping the village in a steam bath, our brownstone's AC wheezing like an asthmatic uncle. I'd taken to early runs along the Hudson, pounding pavement to outpace the restlessness that crept in with the heat. Therapy's gift, unpacking the Harlan knots, but leaving loose ends that snagged on doubt. Nathaniel thrived in the swelter, precinct barbecues turning him sun-kissed and loose, stories of collaring a pickpocket in Times Square spilling over dinner like highlights reels. Guy thought he was Houdini till I cuffed him to a lamppost. He'd chuckle, fork spearing ribs, sauce smudging his chin. I'd laugh, but envy nipped. His world of tangible takedowns versus my spreadsheets. Victories measured in margins, not medals. The idol cracked in July, a postcard from Ohio shattering the mailbox haze. Mom's script, looping like worry beads. Dear Adam, Dad's chemo's rough. Come home. Love always, but pray on your path. The path was code, my lifestyle. The elephant she'd ignored since my coming out call last Christmas, voice quavering through static. God's got a plan, son. We'll pray. Home meant cornfields and church suppers. Dad's recliner empty now. His milk cough turned malignant. Nathaniel found me on the stoop, letter crumpled in fist, eyes hot. Go, he said simple, packing my bag while I stared at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. Family's messy. Doesn't make M less. The flight to Columbus was a red-eye purgatory, turbulence mirroring my gut. Landing in Midwest flatness felt like regression. Billboards preaching salvation, air crisp with manure and memory. Mom hugged fierce at baggage claim, bones brittle under cardigan, her perfume unchanged, lavender and denial. Dad was a shadow in the hospital bed, tubes snaking like accusations, his grip weak but eyes sharp. Knew you'd come, kid. We talked halting, crops failing, my city hustle. No mention of Nate, the ring I'd tucked in my pocket like contraband. Nights in my boyhood room, posters faded, I scrolled his texts. Miss you. Tell him hi from the bad guy. Laughter choked, tears silent. The funeral was a week later, August sun baking the graveside, mourners in starched collars murmuring platitudes. Pastor quoted Romans, wages of sin, gaze sliding my way like oil. Cousin Jake cornered me after, beer breath hot. Heard you're, batting for the other team now. Dad wouldn't approve. I walked away, fists clenched, the prodigal son turned pariah. Mom pulled me aside in the church basement, Jell-O salads sweating on formica. Your father's at peace, Adam. But you, promise me you'll find a nice girl? For him. The lie stuck like glue. Sure, Mom. Back in the motel, I called Nathaniel, breakdown raw. They see a fag, not a son. What if you're wrong? What if I'm poisoned there too? He flew out next day, economy seat cramping his frame, landing with a duffel and determination. We drove to the farm in rental silence, his hand on my thigh the only anchor. Dinner was tense. Mom's meatloaf congealing, Dad's chair gaping, Jake's wife eyeing Nate like he'd sprouted horns. This your roommate? She ventured, politeness fraying. Nathaniel charmed smooth. Partner, ma'am. Adam's my world. The table froze, forks hovering, Mom's napkin twisted white-knuckled. Jake snorted. Good luck with that in these parts. Nate's jaw ticked, but he held, story turning to army days, disarming withdrawal and decency. After, on the porch swing creaking under stars thick as accusations, Mom joined us, tea steaming. He was hard on you, Adam. Afraid you'd stray like he did. Booze, regrets. Her voice cracked, first crack in the facade. Nate squeezed my hand, visible now, and she didn't pull away. Love him, she whispered finally, patting my knee. Like your father loved me, flaws and all. It wasn't absolution, prayers would linger, visits sparse, but a door cracked, light seeping. We left with her hug tighter, a photo album pressed into my hands. Dad young, arm around his sailor buddy, eyes soft and sepia. He had secrets too, she said at the gate. The flight home was quieter, Nate's head on my shoulder, his whisper, proud of you, Bricks. But the visit unearthed ghosts, mine, Dad's unspoken queerness, the generational shame chain. September sharpened the edges. Nate's precinct hit a rough patch. Serial burglaries in the village, brass breathing down necks for stats. Shifts stretched to dawns, him stumbling and reeking of coffee and cordite, collapsing beside me with mumbles of leads gone cold. I'd wake to empty sheets, brew pots solo, the brownstone echoing hollow. Resentment brewed subtle. He chose this. I gave up everything for us. A stakeout gone sideways left him with a sprained wrist, sling awkward under jacket, and I unloaded over takeout lo mein. You're killing yourself for strangers. What about us? He fired back, pain-sharpening words. This job's my fight, Adam, like yours was Harlan's. You gonna bail when it bruises? The chasm widened, silences thickening like fog. I buried in work, a big client pitch landing me overtime, echoes of old ambitions. One night, scrolling feeds in the dim, a pop-up ad for Hayes and Associates, rebranded, Harlan's shadow lingering, stirred the beast. What if? The thought poisoned, whispers of 6 figures, corner offices. Nate caught me at dawn, laptop glowing. Don't, Adam. That's the trap again. Fight number 2, me defending options, him accusing regression. You're chasing ghosts. I'm right here, bleeding for real. October's chill mirrored the frost. We tiptoed around each other, polite notes on the fridge, dinner in fridge. Love, in, sex became rare, mechanical, bodies connecting where hearts lagged. Therapy solo now, my counselor's office a fern-choked confessional. Fear of loss manifests as push-pull. Recognize it. I nodded, but action lagged. A precinct gala invite arrived. Black tie, his arm candy duty, and I demurred. Too public. Still raw. Hurt flashed. Or too committed. Afraid they'll see the fairy. The blow-up came mid-month. Rain lashing windows like judgment. He came home early, caught me on the phone with a headhunter, voice pitching my track record. After everything, he roared, badge slamming the counter. I quit tours for this. For you. And your window shopping escapes. I countered desperate. You shut down too, Nate. One bad shift, and you're a fortress. Truths spilled brutal. My resentment of his hero complex. His fear I'd bolt like the college boy. We shattered dishes, voices raw till neighbors banged walls. He grabbed coats. Need air. Don't follow. Hours ticked agony. I paced, visions of him walking out forever. Dawn broke gray when he returned, soaked, eyes haunted. Drove to the bridge. Thought about jumping, like you almost did. But I pictured your face. Pissed. Yeah, but fighting. He collapsed into me, sobs mine echoing his. We're toxic, Nate. Nah, he murmured. Just human. Epic humans. We rebuilt deliberate. Couples counseling in a Soho loft. Homework of date jars. Slips with kiss in the rain. Or truth, or dare. Deepest fear. Mine, abandonment, Dad's echo. His, unworthiness, shrapnel's lie. November thawed us. Thanksgiving redux with Mom zooming in. Her smile tentative but real. Bring him next year? Nate's hand under the table. Anchor. December twinkled fragile, tree strung with mismatched ornaments. His dog tags, my first pride pin. But fate's a joker. A tip on the burglaries led Nate undercover. Deep cover in a Hell's Kitchen crew. Weeks blurred. Check-ins cryptic. My bed half empty. Worry gnawed. Phobias flaring. What if he's hurt? What if he likes the shadows more? A midnight call, voice strained. Close, babe. Trust. I did, white-knuckled. The bust hit Christmas Eve. Headlines screaming cop cracks ring. Nate's face blurred in the grainy shot. He stumbled home at dawn, cuts bandaged hasty, adrenaline fading to crash. I cleaned him up, antiseptic stinging, his head in my lap. Missed you. Every damn minute. Gifts unwrapped slow. His, a leather journal. For the stories we tell. Mine, engraved watch. Time's ours. In the glow of lights, we vowed deeper. No more half measures. 2027 dawned with resolve, but life's ledger demands balance. A precinct reassignment loomed. Him to narcotics, higher stakes, and my firm offered partnership, strings of travel. Choices loomed, echoes of bathrooms and bridges. Yet, in the mirror now, I see us, scarred, steady, shocking in our survival. Love's not the absence of storm, it's the grip through gale. Spring 2027 unfurled like a hesitant truce. Cherry blossoms dusting the village sidewalks in pink confetti. Our brownstone stoop blooming with geraniums, Nate insisted on. Reminds me of Charleston porches, minus the gators. The narcotics gig swallowed him whole. Stakeouts in the Bronx shadows, informants with twitchy eyes, nights he'd slip in silent, revolver heavy on the nightstand like a sleeping sentinel. I'd wake to its gleam, heart stutter, pulling him close, skin to skin, tattoos mapping his risks, eagle on pec, shrapnel stars on ribs. Just props, he'd murmur, kisses chasing my fears, but the weight lingered, a partner's unspoken tax. My partnership sealed in April, corner office with Hudson views, travel to Chicago and LA for client schmoozes. Go conquer. Nate cheered at the airport, kiss lingering past security's glare, progress, public but practiced. Hotel nights blurred lonely. Room service cold, calls crackling with static and I love yous. One LAX layover, jet-lagged haze, a barstool confession to a stranger, bartender with kind eyes. Long distance on the heart. I spilled fragments, Harlan's ghost, Nate's badge. Sounds like you've earned the scars, he said, pouring neat. Back in the room, Nate's text lit the screen, dreamed of you. Come home soon. Anchor. May brought collision. His unit raided a warehouse, gunfire echoing canyons, a graze to his thigh that sidelined him 2 weeks. I cut a trip short, finding him on the couch, leg propped, face ashen under bravado. Bulletproof vest, mostly, he joked, but pain etched deep. Nursemaid duties flipped scripts. I cooked, burnt toast upgraded to pasta al dente, read him precinct pot boilers, our laughter brittle but binding. In the quiet, he cracked, saw a kid today, 16, OD'd on the product we chase. Reminds me why, but damn, Adam, it's eating me. I held him then, tears salting his collar. Then pivot. We pivot together. The seed took root over June's languid heat, his forced leave a sabbatical of sorts. We weakened the Cape, rental cottage on Nauset Beach, waves crashing like catharsis, sand between toes erasing city grit. Bonfires at dusk, Esmore sticky, stories swapping. His first crush on a bunkmate, forbidden notes in boot camp. My prom facade, lipstick smudges hiding hickeys from the gearhead next door. We were kids playing grown-up games, he said, embers glowing on his face. I nodded, marshmallow charred. Now we're adults writing our rules. Skinny dips in moonlight, bodies buoyant, love reclaimed playful, splashes, not storms. Back in the city, decisions crystallized. Nate applied for transfer, community liaison, badge to bridge, teaching kids in after-school programs about choices over cuffs. Less glory, more good. He pitched, hazel eyes earnest. My firm countered the partnership with flex hours, remote hybrids, family first. The new boss winked, a lesbian trailblazer who'd shattered her own glass ceilings. We inked futures. His academy start in fall, my desk a home office nook with skyline sketches. But July's heat wave brewed trouble. Mom's call came mid-commute, subway rattling. Adam, Jake's in trouble. Lost the farm, drinking bad. Needs family. Guilt surged. Cousins Barb's forgiven? Nate, overhearing on speaker. Go. I'll cover. Road trip east. Our old beater groaning over state lines. Pulling into the farm at dusk. Silos silhouetted like sentinels. Jake was wreck. Beard unkempt. Eyes hollow. Porch swings sagging under empties. Heard about your pops. Nate started, easy, offering a hand. Jake sneered, city boy savior? Save your breath. Days blurred tense. Fence mending literal and not. Nate hauling hay bales, sweat bonding reluctant. Me and Jake in the barn, silences thawing to confessions. Dad hated me soft, he admitted, pitchfork pausing. Thought I was him, cheating, hiding. Pushed me straight, but it broke everything. Echoes of Dad's photo, the sailor secret. Forgiveness came slow, beers on the tailgate. Your family, Jake. Messy as hell. He nodded, tears, tracks, and dust. Sorry for the shit. Love's love, I guess. Homeward, Nate drove, my head on his shoulder. You fixed more than fences. He chuckled. Nah, you did. I'm just the muscle. August solidified. Jake's sober curious. Mom visiting for a weekend. Awkward brunches evolving to park strolls. Her hand patting Nate's. Strong hands. Good for Adam. Progress, pedal by pedal. Fall painted the park in fire. Our first anniversary marked quiet. Picnic under sycamores, the bench from our early days. Cheese, wine, a playlist of Springsteen anthems. Born to Run for the chases, Thunder Road for the redemptions. He pulled a box, velvet soft, twin bands, tungsten-etched epic hours. Marry me proper? Knees grass-stained, yes tumbling easy. Planning ensued. Small, June ceremony in the park, Theo officiating in sequence, Ruiz as best woman with speeches roasting. Winter whispered warnings. Nate's new role bloomed. Kids in Harlem rec centers, wide-eyed at his stories. Choices C? Badge or bars, your call. But bureaucracy bit. Budget cuts threatened programs, brass prioritizing collars over classrooms. Protests brewed, community rallies, Nate at the megaphone. These kids need mentors, not more metal. I joined pickets after hours, sign hoisted. Fund futures, not fury. Media sniffed. Ex-scandal finance bro backs cop reform. Old trolls resurfaced, but this time, armor held. Our love, public now, a shield. December's solstice party packed the brownstone. Precinct pals, my work crew, mom beaming via video with pie recipe critiques. As snow dusted window panes, Nate pulled me to the fire escape, city lights twinkling below. Remember the bathroom? He murmured, arms circling. Thought I'd lost you. I turned, nose to nose. You found me. Shocked the hell out of me. Laughter bubbled, kisses ceiling. 2028 dawned golden, wedding bells tolling metaphorical. Ceremony day, sun-drenched park, vows exchanged under the arch. Mine. You followed me into darkness. I'll chase your light forever. His, from guards to guardians, we're unbreakable. Rings slid, cheers erupted, cakes smashed with glee. Honeymoon in Charleston. His roots, porches swaying, gumbo feasts with aunts who pinched cheeks and whispered blessings. Years spool. Kids via surrogacy, a girl with his eyes, boy with my smirk. Brownstone expanded, laughter echoing halls. Harlan's appeal denied, a footnote in tabloids. Jake's farm revived, sober strong. Mom's visits routine, pride pins on her lapel. In the end, shock's echo fades, replaced by rhythm. Love's true measure not absence of conflict, but presence through it. Nathaniel, my guard, my heart. We shocked the world by surviving it. Two American queers, epic in our ordinary grace.